What is up, everybody? We are here. A2D Radio. This is Vetted. I'm Irving Fry. This Big Dog Hollis Thomas. This is our new time, 8 p.m. We're going to be here from now on, henceforward. Big Dog, talk to the people.
Well, today's show is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. Philly Sports Trips is the official travel team for the Philadelphia Unions. We do all of the sports, every sport. That's hockey, baseball, basketball, especially football, and we're the official travel team of the Philadelphia Union, the soccer team. We have a trip coming. We have a couple of trips coming up. One into the Stadium Series where the Flyers will be playing the New Jersey Devils, and we have our ever so prominent trips to spring training, one for 3 days, and one for 5. If you can't make the trip with us and you're down in the area, there are events that we will be having that you can join in and have the fun and join the festivities. You can do this by going to phillysportstrips.com and hitting the trips or the events tab. And when it says, how'd you hear about this? Tell them you heard it from the Tank on A2D Radio.
Tank. I got to start calling you Tank, man. Am I the only one that calls you Big Dog?
No. So my boys from Houston call me Big Dog too.
Okay, so that's why. Yeah, you never told me. No, man, I'm Tank.
and my boy Josh Ennis. Everybody who knows me in the close proximity, they call me like you call me Tank, and we call each other Big Dog because we both
okay.
Big.
All right, yeah. But I call you Big Dog. That's just out of respect. Yeah. That's out of respect. Mm-hmm. Listen, the Philly Sports Trips, do they have packages out yet for the trip to Brazil?
Oh, yes, they do.
They have packages out.
They have packages out, but they're currently working on getting everything. They got to do some recon work. I bet that's going to be fun. Okay. So I think they're getting those together currently, and just go to the site and hit phillysportstrips.com.
Look at our new background. We got a crazy background. Look at that. All the lines everywhere. Yeah.
Maybe that's what happens when we get on that after 5 o'clock, after supper.
so that really isn't changed. It's just the way I see things right now.
Probably
5 o'clock, 8 o'clock at nighttime because I'm old. I see stripes.
Pretty much. Man.
But listen, we got some stuff to talk about today. Hopefully those of you who are watching right now who have joined us, we're at our new time, 8 p.m. We announced it while we were at the Super Bowl. Big Dog and I were at the Super Bowl out there in Vegas. And we actually watched the game in the same place. That was a nice venue, man.
It was the Sahara. What was it? The Sahara Hotel, Casino, and Resort.
Yeah. It was out around the pool, and they had little places for us to be, and people all over the place. It was nice. And the game was pretty exciting, man. We had a good time. But before we get into that,
I'm surprised you said it was exciting because a lot of the offensive yahoos was home. It was a boring game. It's because defense came to play.
Well, I thought it was. I mean, I like defense, but I didn't think that it was a boring game. Some people think that you have to have a whole lot of scoring, going back and forth, up and down the field, big plays, long passes, long runs for the game to be exciting. No, if you understand the game and you know what's happening and the strategies going back and forth, even on defensive stops, that's exciting in watching a game and understanding the nuances of football. So no, I thought it was a very exciting game. It was a good Super Bowl. It wasn't a boring Super Bowl, though, there wasn't a lot of scoring, particularly in the first quarter, but it just revved up. And as time went on, particularly in the fourth quarter, it just got better and better and better, man. Just an awesome game. But before we get into all of that, take our time today. Let's talk about, if you want to, let's talk about Haason Reddick. There's a lot of talk where it was put out by the Eagles, so to speak, that Haason Reddick.
It wasn't put out by the Eagles.
I said so to speak. No,
it was somebody. And me and you.
I said so to speak.
I know, but
it was put out by the Eagles. Somebody said it was put out by the Eagles.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody said. Remember, me and you was talking. We was like, we're not gonna do the clickbait crap. And that was prime example of what we. It was like no merit, none whatsoever.
Right.
And it was like it's kind of like It's like today in all my history stuff, the copyright stuff. There's a bunch of copyright type laws. I'm just saying there was a bunch of copyright type laws that were enacted, and it was kind of like it took me back to when you used to have to write a paper, a research paper.
Right.
At the end, what was he supposed to do? Give credit for where you got.
Credit, where you got.
Where you got information from?
That's right.
They don't do that no more. You don't know.
No.
You don't. It's like you don't know where they got that crap from.
Oh no.
And then I see my trusty neighbor, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Ain't nobody said nothing to me. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? And I feel like a fool because I was like, oh man, because it's believable because it's his last year's contract.
Right. But it's, I mean, you got to understand the time in which we live in as well. You know, it's a time where, again, people throw out fugazi and they just stir the pot just for the sake of news, just for the sake of content in what, you know, within the media. Right. So they're really, again, it was somebody who said it, somebody who started it, in that the Eagles gave Hassan Reddick permission to seek a trade.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Now, if that really would have happened, what would have been your first thought? Because I know going into free agency as a player who's going into free agency or has been going into free agency, you would love to have that type of latitude, especially this early. And it's like I would have felt like they were doing him a solid if they were planning, if they didn't have plans for him. I was like, but then you hear that it's not true, and then you hear that he's just trying to play us because he wants to stay here. He wants to, you know, and he's like, I love the way he handled it though. He went on Twitter and said, "Hey, I don't even know what y'all talking about." Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you remember when you kept trying to press the issue about AJ Brown getting traded, and then I found out later that you was trying to get traded for 6 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm trying to get traded for 6 years.
And I didn't know it was that long. I was like, but it was just like, and when they asked him the question, he answered it like it was absurd.
Well, it was a surprise to him. He probably found out the same way we found out in media, social media.
Right.
So when I first heard it, you know, when you're hearing things like this, when things like this come out, you know, you got to wait to see if there's any validity to it.
Yeah.
Wait to see, you know, who is actually speaking out on it. Is it just the people in the media, or is the actual people that the media is talking about? So I hadn't heard Howie Roseman say anything. I hadn't heard Hassan say anything until Hassan did get interviewed, and that's when he let everybody know he ain't know anything about it, that he wants to stay in Philly. This is where he was raised. His family's here.
He tweeted that. See, I don't know if he did an interview.
No, he did an interview. He did do an interview. Yeah, he did do an interview and spoke out and said that the same thing that he tweeted was that, you know, he didn't know anything about it. He wants to be an Eagle. And we know that because, you know, he asked or wanted more money before the season started, and the Eagles said no. And he came to camp.
Yeah.
Didn't hold out, didn't say anything.
Right.
He did what he was supposed to do. He was, so to speak, a good boy and came and performed and played the game the way he was supposed to. So he could have made a fuss last year because there were a lot of players in the NFL playing the same position that Hassan plays, edge rushers, and making twice as much, even more than that, than he is making.
Less production.
And less production.
Yeah.
So he could have been a stinker coming into this year. He could have been, and rightfully so. He would have been justified in doing that because of how he played, his production on the field.
But I think sometimes when you become that stinker, you kind of mess with your game and you kind of mess with your money.
Yeah, but like, he knows that, and that's part of why he didn't, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's like the one thing that I do laugh at during the Super Bowl time was, as you saw, they fired Steve Wilkes, the defense coordinator in that five. Memory serves me correctly, they couldn't score offensively, and the head coach is supposed to be an offensive guru. Everybody's talking that crap. And I was laughing because
it wasn't, it wasn't on the defense. It wasn't on the coordinator. I know. They played well.
Yeah.
Where they made their mistakes wasn't on defense. Their mistakes that put the Chiefs back in the game were on special teams.
Yes, and not only that, it's like then you look at the people that was talking about trash? What's the boy's name? Debo Samuels,
Debo,
and
right?
Kittles, and I guess Brandon Ayuk. They had 52 yards together. Now I'm looking.
And
I'm
you
like,
know what? I heard Marcus Thomas make a great point. I was on a show with him earlier today, this morning, actually, earlier this morning. He probably mentioned it in his show that comes on right before us.
okay.
How the San Francisco 49ers, they complained, the 40-winers, and they lost their Super Bowl the same way, similarly to how the Eagles lost.
Yeah, on the exact same play.
Yes, on the same and then they had a mess up on special teams that happened with the Eagles last year. They were down by 10, in the first half. That happened to the Eagles last year.
We were up by we were up. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like when you look at it and they were talking all that trash, and then somebody's like, we beat y'all. I was like, yeah, you beat a lot of teams throughout the season, but you didn't win the game that really counted.
Yeah.
You talked all the trash, and you said you would have won last year if you had Purdy. You had Purdy. It's the same team that was there last year.
They had Purdy.
They had Purdy, and it was like I was looking at the way the game unfolded, and you did. We was there. We were around a bunch of 49ers fans, and you never noticed how obnoxious that they were. The one kid came to my cabana when I was watching the game, talking about. I think the score was like 10-0, and he came over and said, "I'll be back when the 49ers are up by 17." I was like, "Well, you ain't coming back then." I was like, yeah, they got. And then as the Chiefs started coming back, and I was walking by people, you could see them dwindling because before at halftime they was sea walking and everything in the pool. And
because it's amazing. It really is amazing. And Patrick Mahomes, you gotta give it to him. He is the quarterback right now in the NFL. He is the man at that position because the team, the Chiefs really didn't look good. And even when I was watching it, I didn't feel good for them or about how things were going for them. Then they come out at halftime, they go into halftime and they're down by 7, 10-3, but they're still not, things aren't going well for them. And then they come out in the second half and start in the second half in their first possession, Patrick turns around to toss the ball. No, he goes to toss the ball. Yeah, 3 and out. He goes to toss the ball to Pacheco, and he drops it, and they get an 11-yard loss, and then 2 plays later, he throws an interception.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow. This game is, you're thinking,
this can't get no worse.
Yeah.
But then they scored that touchdown, and then they blocked that extra point.
Right. They blocked it. Well, they obviously first play after the botched, I should say, punt. Right. Botched the punt. The 49ers botched that punt. It hit the blockers, and then the punt returner could not scoop it up. Right. And the Chiefs were able to recover it. The first play later, touchdown. So so that gave them some momentum. It gave them an opportunity, some light at the end of the tunnel. And then boom, they blocked. That was big when they blocked that extra point. That was huge because that was the difference in the game because they were down by 3 instead of 4. So instead of at the end of the regular game time in the fourth quarter, they would have had to go for a touchdown rather than kick that field goal. They would have had to use that fourth down to go for 7 to try to win the game.
Yeah. Now, watching the Super Bowl and watching the 49, look at the 49ers tears. I know everybody's been on social media, and
who's tears? Who's crying?
Tears. If you saw, I know you saw Marshawn Lynch beast mode with the microphone walking around.
No, I didn't see him. Where was he at? On TV?
He was in Vegas, and so every 49ers fan. He was, what up, James? He was like, he was walking around telling people, he's like, you a 49 fan? They was like, yeah. He was like, fuck you. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Beast Mode don't care. He don't care, man. I love him. Marshawn.
But if you ask anybody that's in the room currently, it was like even when we were out there, they were just like obnoxious, man. And I
didn't really run into anybody that was being obnoxious at any time, maybe because I don't know, I look crazy and they weren't trying to mess with me, but I'm sure nobody was, outwardly obnoxious to you directly.
But they weren't outwardly obnoxious.
Yeah, because that's just plain stupid. It's for them to see you and to be outwardly obnoxious to you, big dog. Come on, man. They gotta have a couple screws loose. If that was happening. No.
There you go. This on the screen.
There it is. Listen, everybody, please. If you're watching right now, you're liking this info, you're following us, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, let us know, and then also hit the notifications button so that when we come on at 8 o'clock on Thursdays, I know this is a new time for you all. We're normally on the 5s before, but that's gone. That's history.
Yeah.
Don't look in the past. We're looking forward. Yes. We're on at 8 now, from 8 to 9 every Thursday night. And we promise you, right, here, I'm going to make this promise right now. We're going to be at the Super Bowl from now on. Yeah. We're going to do a vetted show at the Super Bowl every year. Next year, this coming year, we are going to be in New Orleans.
Yes.
So we'll be down there in New Orleans somewhere, hopefully not in the French Quarter, because
what up, James? I know. Yeah, we'll be somewhere in the French Quarter. Hey, a couple of my buddies who I played with down there, they still got houses down there. So I may crash.
So we got the hookup. We got the hookup.
We got a little bit of a hookup. Yeah.
Okay. Jari's down still down there. John's still down there.
John's still down there. I know my boy 34 Ways, Mac 34, Mike McKenzie. I know he's still down there.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I know Lance down there, and my boy who we saw at Radio Row, Jamal Brown. I know he still got a spot down there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? We need to make get that solidified and confirm
solidify the arrangements. Yeah.
Yes, let's do that ASAP as soon as possible.
Yes,
that way
I will do that.
I can start saving my chips.
Yeah.
So listen, a little more talk about the Eagles.
Since we talk about the Eagles, and then this was my idea. The people, this is going to be your homework assignment for the next week. Currently coming up is the next thing football wise coming up is the combine.
Combines, yeah.
Yep. So then free agency is coming.
Right.
So this was my thoughts. People can put, if you want to comment, put in what you're looking for. I know the first thing that everybody's gonna say is linebacker, and is linebacker, and we still need to see, like you were talking about earlier. We need to see what Jason Kelsey's gonna do, so we can do something about the offense. Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, and see what they're gonna do with Brandon Graham. That all has to do with free agency. And I just want to know everybody's wish list of free agency. Of anybody out there that's about to be a free agent, this is everybody's homework. Figure it out, because there's free agency's coming up, and then we'll get to see the combine.
Like that's my homework too. Then
yes, it's your homework too. Because I've already started my list, and I didn't want to just bang it out on you.
No. We need to talk about the Super Bowl. We can start that next week, because we're going to need content for next week, because there's no football this week.
I know, but the funny thing is this is the content of scouting players and picking your favorite is endless. It's because it's a lot of cats out there, and it's going to be some dark. We get to the dark horses later on when we actually really do need content. But you start with the catalyst. You started with the obvious person. My first obvious, and this is for you to sackle a little bit. We need a linebacker, and if we're going to do it right, I feel like we need to go ahead and get either Patrick McQueen or one of the guys that Vic Fangio is comfortable with, and a younger guy, one of the linebackers from is coming out. We can call him Frankie. He's out from the Panthers, but he's a little known guy. He's had 100 tackles both the seasons down with the Panthers. We need somebody like that in the middle again. And
I'll tell you what. I mean, you're talking about free agency right now. I'll tell you what, though, at that position, it won't take much for us to improve at that position. No, I'm serious. It won't take, and I believe, Vic Fangio coming in and his way of doing things, having the experience that he has, 30 years in the league, 30 plus years in the league. And I think that he'll be able to deal with these young men in a way and relate to these young men in a way that will allow them to perform at a high level. I believe that's a coach's responsibility, a coach's job.
You talk about being a real coach?
Yeah, I'm talking about being, because I believe that's what a coach's job is as a coach, not just to teach X's and O's, but to understand who it is you're coaching, and put them into position, understand what they do best, and put them into position to do what they do best more often than not. And then also you have the emotional and the relational side of coaching and dealing with players. And I think Fangio has that because he's been in the league for a long time. So, and I don't believe that it's going to take a major improvement. It's not going to take much for in terms of them moving or whether it's drafting, whether it's free agent at the linebacker position. It's not going to take much for them to make an improvement because our linebackers were pretty, I hate to use the word pathetic, but that's what they were.
Back up the truck.
And that's the area that we need
back up the truck. Solidify. It's the middle of the field.
Definitely need to solidify that area. And we need to solidify, if not solidify, at least figure out who our corners are going to be and who our safeties are going to be.
Yeah, but the one thing that I do like that went down last year was our young guys got a chance to get their feet wet, and
they got baptized.
You got baptized. You still add. See, what you do is you add competition.
Right.
You add competition to the mix. And my thing is this: I do like somebody wants to know about Josh Allen from the Jaguars. We really got him in Hassan Reddick. You have to pay Josh Allen though. We really got him in Hassan Reddick, and we got Smith, who we drafted in the first round last year. I really want to see what Vic Fangio has in store for him. And with a coach like Vic Fangio, you get somebody who's and a better way to put what you said was he puts them in position to win.
Right.
And he's like
that's a plain and simple way to put it. Yeah.
It's like when you have a coach like what I heard was going on last year, who thinks it's a system. He don't care about you. He don't care about what you can do good. He's just gonna throw you out there. That's what I was saying. It's like you got it. It's like I think he's gonna come and he's gonna see what these guys that he has can do, and then he's gonna try to add a little here and a little there to the mix because we do have a young core. It's like you got Kylie Ringo that's playing back there.
Right.
You got you got Eli Rigsdale's playing back there. Then you got Josh Robe who ended up getting hurt, but then you got the other young guys that got a chance, but you still have to keep them hungry. So you have to add some new blood in there as well.
Right.
And I think the part that will really make the defense go is getting that quarterback in the middle of the field, the linebacker. Once you solidify that linebacking core, man, it's like it's so, and because we would get torched over the middle, and when the corners don't have that, when you got the inside or you got the outside, you push to the inside, and the linebacker is not dropped that depth or is not dropped that width. It's
particularly when you talk about running the ball. When the safety is your leading tackler, which Blankenship was this year for the Eagles,
it's not good.
That's a problem. Yeah. I believe Sean Desai was having problem. One of his problems this past season was the fact that he was not experienced in terms of the shifting of all the players. He did not know how to game plan with all the different players he had to use from week to week.
Yeah,
he was stuck on his plan, like you said. Yeah. He was stuck on this is what I do, and he tried to just use whoever came in there, whoever was available to do whatever he was calling for them to do. And it wasn't working that way. You had to be creative because you had people changing, and the people who were changing, the shifting, you were using guys who didn't have any experience. You were using guys who were in there for the first time. You were using guys who weren't necessarily as good as others in certain coverages. And he just was not, he didn't have the experience to get that done. If there's some shifting that goes on like that this year, Fangio knows how to deal with that because he's seen it. He's been there, done that. He's got the t-shirt. So
well, the funny part is when you look at what transpired, I think what transpired was I think Desai had a initial plan, but like it's just kind of like when you first get in the league. Once they get you on tape and get all your great moves down or your good moves down, that athletic ability around week 10, 11 goes out the damn window because everybody's got you on tape, and now they're game planning for you. And we had nothing to counter their game plan. What they started doing was instead of single blocking our big guys up front, double team them, and it's called the rub double. They rub you until they get some movement, get you flip one way, and then the other guy goes to the linebacker. And it started working like I was watching. I was like, man, come on! You have to run some stunts stunt right into that.
Get them moving. That's right.
Yeah, get the big dogs moving and stuff. Right. It was just pissing me off to watch them just stand still. And it's kind of like if your DBs are playing man coverage all day, they're gonna get tired.
You're gonna get tired. Well, that's what I was saying about halfway through the season. I noticed they're rushing the defensive line forward front. They're rushing in the same spot all the time. There were no switches, no twists,
nothing,
no unders, whatever y'all call it. There was none of that. They were in the same place all the time. And it's not hard for a quarterback to figure it out. It's not hard for a back who's trying to block or trying to get out of the backfield. It's not hard for them to figure out what you're doing when you're coming from the same place all the time.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of work that's got to be done with the Eagles this year. I think they've got, Kellen Moore. He's creative. Hopefully, he'll be able to get that offense running because there's no holes in that offense. There's a question about whether or not Jason Kelce will be back or not. What do you think?
I think he's gonna be back for another one. I think he's having too much fun. I think he's gonna be back for one more.
Well, there's the talk, the back and forth talk, I guess the same as last year around this time, the talk about him, wanting to spend time with his family, and you only get one go round with your family. So you miss certain things. You're going to get a chance to get that back. It doesn't come back again.
You only get one go round in life too.
I understand that. I understand that.
You don't want to resent. You don't want to give something up, and you don't want to resent your family.
Understand that too.
It's one of those things where it's like given the latitude in which they're giving him, I feel like he's gonna do what's best for himself, because if he still has the itch he has to scratch it.
Of course.
And then I had a conversation with him. I told him until a scout team defensive lineman is beating you repeatedly, you don't quit.
You don't quit.
No, it's when the scout team is kicking your ass, it's time to jump on the waterway.
Well, yeah, you need to go.
Yeah, a lot of people, the scout team, that's the practice squad guys who are fringe players who are
not playing. Yeah, they're not on the field on game day.
And you should be beating them like a drum.
That's right. So, that's right. That's why they're scout teams, because they're blocking dummies.
Yep.
But I believe his decision will be based on, because we went through this, or he went through this, and the fans went through this at this time last year. There was a pause last year before he made the decision to come back and play. And I never doubted that he would come back and play last year, because the Eagles had just come out of the Super Bowl. They had a lot of pieces in place, and there was a lot of high expectations going into that offseason last year, expecting to do well and do more, even go back to the Super Bowl this past season, which they did not do, which was very disappointing. Yeah. But I think his decision will be based on, he's waiting to see what happens here in the next few weeks with free agency.
Free agency, you can't wait to free agency, because first the combine comes.
Well, you have to come. But there's things that are going on. There's talk. There's some moves that will be made. Okay. So I think he's waiting, because I believe his decision will be made on whether or not he believes the Eagles have an opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl next year and win it. Mm-hmm. Other than that, why would he come back? He's not coming back just to play another season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's true too. And I think that's the only reason he'll come back, because he feels like that they have a chance to win it.
Exactly. But right now, if I'm Jason Kelce, right now I'm looking at this team. Yeah, we got a new offensive coordinator. Yes, we got a new defensive coordinator. But I don't care what kind of coordinator you get, particularly on defense, until we get some players on defense. People are saying if the Eagles can, just make a little bit of improvement on defense, the offense is going to play well enough to carry the team. That's BS. That's a bunch of crap, because this offense needs to tighten up as well. And this offense is not, if this defense gives up points like they did last season, the offense is not going to be able to keep up with that. It's just not going to be able to do that because the offense is going to sputter at times as well. And
but if this is the one thing is like you and I think that they often keep going to the pass, and you run the pass. I don't care what nobody says.
Right.
Once you start beating up a defense with the run, those timely runs, you can throw the pass here and that. The play action works.
Right.
It's easy to pass. It's easy to pass block.
Everything works better on offense when you're running the ball.
Yeah. What was the poll?
What was the poll?
Yeah, what was the agree to disagree question?
The agree to disagree was that Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback in the NFL. In NFL history, I'm sorry, NFL history. I know you disagree with that, but I made that comment earlier about the offense not being able to carry the defense if the defense is bad, because our defense is bad. Our defense is last in the league this past year.
They were 28th.
They were what? They may have been 28th in some categories, but overall they were last. When you take all those categories and you lump them together, the Eagles ended up last defensively. So if you know this, I played on a team like that where when I was down in Miami, our defense really, we lacked on defense. We never really had a good defense that was maybe like in the middle of the pack when it came to the league. And we just couldn't sustain it. We just couldn't keep scoring enough points to win games. Why? Because our defense was getting beat like a drum. So this defense, in order for it to improve, like we said, we started the show out talking about linebackers. We got to get some linebackers. We got to get some DBs. Maybe not a whole bunch of DBs, but maybe one or two more that can play. Linebackers, we need to wipe out the whole linebacker crew and get all new linebackers as far as I'm concerned. We don't know about Nakobe Dean. We don't know. No, subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Call it.
You see that? That should be you. Put it out there again, Ralph. That should be you. You see that thing? Yeah. Hit the subscribe. That should be you. That should be your cursor right now. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. The thumbs up button. Hit the notifications button. This is vetted on A2D Radio every Thursday at 8 p.m. Y'all support us. Thank you very much.
Damn, Skippy.
But yeah, we don't know what our linebackers can do right now.
No,
but we don't know. They can't stay healthy. It's just been a mess.
Yeah, it's been a mess. It's time for us to get some healthy luck now. I'm not going to say healthy luck. It's just we just need to do a little bit better. I feel like that, and the coaching will do that if we get some 3 and outs and give out and get some timely turnovers. I think we were last in turnovers. You're probably correct on that, and taking the ball away from people.
Of course, yeah.
We wasn't getting off the field like we probably played the most plays of any team in the NFL. We literally played 90+ plays in a game against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that's
and
ridiculous.
I was like exactly. And I'm like, dude, I had the most plays I played 100 and some plays in the game, and that was in college. Mm-hmm. And that was against a team that against the Nevada Wolfpack. They threw every time. Guess what the score was? We won 45-42.
Wow.
Yes.
That was a
in Nevada. It was hot as all get out.
Yeah, that was a gunslinger show. That was just a bunch of up and down the field offensively.
I had like 15 tackles. Yeah, because they was doing a quick game. They were doing a quick game, and they was doing hurry up offense. I never been so dry mouthed in my life.
Well, listen. Again, we talked about Kelsey. We talked about Hassan Reddick. So, do you think the team is going to renew or give him an extension or give him a new contract with Hassan?
Well, Hassan, I think he's going to have to prove it a little bit because you got.
When you say prove it, what do you mean? You mean he's going to have to play this last year out of his contract?
He may have to play some of it because if he's asking for a lot, then he's going to have to show them a little bit more.
Well, he's asking for a lot because again, there are players who are playing the same position as him who are making twice as much as he's making. So he's going to ask for at least twice as much as he's making right now.
So he's going to have to play the run as well.
Well, we know that, and that's a part of my question. When you look at him, of course, he's a great pass rusher, double-digit sacks this year. Probably would have had more had they not changed defensive coordinators, in the latter part of the season and had him dropping back instead of rushing. Yeah. So he probably would have had more sacks. Yeah. But when you look at him stopping the run, I think there was a stat out. I think it was 275 runs his way, and he had all season nine tackles.
I just work here.
Out of 275 opportunities, he had 9 tackles.
That's what I was getting at, because I was like, when you have those type of numbers, they rear their ugly head in the art of negotiation.
Of course,
it's like so you can't. So that's why I think he said he's going to wait and see how he does against the run this year to be a more complete player instead of a one-trick pony. Because you pay for a pass rusher, I was like, but he's trying to get
But he got to stop the run, man. I don't care if you pass rush. You got to stop the run.
Exactly. And
you got to be able to stop the run.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
You're not going to rush no passer.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If it comes down to it, and, let's say he's asking for, he wants to be in the top 5 paid edge rushers in the league, and the Eagles decide they don't want to pay him that money, do you believe that the Eagles' mentality would be, we want you here on the team, but we don't need you here on the team?
Why do you think they got the kid in the late first round list?
Right. Because there's a difference between wanting and not needing, and needing, and that's why we want you.
Yeah, and that's why I think he's on the is where with Vic Fangio, he'll be able to play that position and set the edge more. I think he'll get taught to set the edge more versus those runs that are run at him. Because if he sets the edge and knock it back to the Sharks, you're good. But if you just running hell bent for leather field without it,
but that's what he does. I've seen it.
I've
seen it a bunch of times.
That's what the defense called for.
For him to just run upfield, not stop the run, let the ball carrier run right by you.
You rushing for all the time.
Wow. Well, no wonder he's got that stat then.
Yeah. If you look at it, the defensive line, the what y'all supposed to play, the linebackers supposed to play the run. That's what they do. They back up the line. That's the mentality of the defense that they put in front of. But that's not the way a defense is supposed to work hand in hand. And I think with some tutelage from I think he's going to put him in position to win more often than lose. I was like, because I feel like he could rush the edge.
So there's a time this is the way I'm hearing what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's a defensive set, a defensive responsibility for an edge rusher to get up the field. But if there's a run, not to try to make the tackle, to keep running upfield.
Set the edge.
I understand set the edge, but there were times I've seen him, he didn't set the edge. He just ran inside.
Well,
he just pressured inside, and the ball carrier went outside of him.
Yeah.
I've seen that many a time. And I said to myself, I didn't know the stat was as bad as it, or as lopsided as it is. But I said to myself numerous times during the season, why he keep going down? Why does he keep pressing down like that? The ball carrier is going outside. It's like he's just letting him go outside.
Because they're supposed to scrape.
The linebacker's supposed to scrape outside and stop the run.
Right.
Well, that wouldn't happen.
That wasn't happening.
But still, you're supposed, if you see the ball carrier went outside, you're still supposed to change directions to try to go chase the ball.
And the guy that's inside of him is supposed to be flowing that way. So when he goes down inside, he would be able to take that. I've done it a million times. Take that block out of his hand, and I would go make the play. I'm just saying, but we don't. That's not. And the guy is right. Nolan is no Reddick, but they would try to make him Reddick.
I'm going to be watching these cats this year.
Okay.
Hopefully,
we gonna watch some games together. And
we gonna watch it together. Yeah.
I'm about to give you some of the tape because it's a smooth art. Because when I was playing with you, anytime I played with a fast ass end. And they was always bolting upfield.
Right.
I said, just let me know where you about to go. He's like, I'm gone. When he say I'm gone, if I get run action that way,
right, you coming behind him, right?
Pause. I'm gonna fold in, but I'm gonna fold in. Yeah.
Right.
He's gonna take my blocker out of my hand.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he's going this way, you're going that way.
Well, no, he's like, okay, so say me and Hugh, we played the right side of the defensive line.
Right.
If he's getting a bunch of jump set action, guys are jump setting, they're trying to grab him and stuff, they try to get his hands on him to choke him out. Right. He's like, big dog, I'm gone. When he said big dog, I'm gone, I know I have to cover not only his run responsibility, but his pass responsibility outside. Right. So I break outside, but I bank everything back. I have to set the edge.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He's jumping inside, and you're taking his spot. Right.
Yeah, that's because they don't have any continuity of playing together. Me and Hugh developed that over the years of playing, and it was just I had great defensive line too, and I was like, when I look at the way that the guys are getting taught now, you don't see that anymore. You don't see guys playing off of each other and they're folding them behind. It's like It's an art to stop the run. You
Right.
you ain't gonna never get no sack until you stop the damn run.
Stop the run.
If they can run 4 or 5 yards on you, you pissing in the wind or pissing up a rope.
Right.
If you think that they're gonna pass the ball, it's coming. It's coming like a fastball pitch. It's like when I was playing for the Panthers, they knew every time I came out of the game, they was putting two ends on the interior. So on third down, they started running. Guess what they put in on the sideline? big nickel. So
big nickel. You big nickel.
It was nickel, and then it was this. And then I stayed in with three defensive ends.
Right.
And I got a safety on Clinton Portis on that play.
Yeah. Big nickel.
Yeah. It was big.
I like that.
Big nickel.
See, that's why I call you big dog. Yeah, that's why I call you big dog.
Anytime I saw this, that means nickel. That means I was running out the field. This was NASCAR.
Right.
And this was me.
Okay, that's big nickel.
Yeah. It was
big nickel.
And this, yeah.
Big nickel. Got you.
And then there was dime, big.
Big dime.
Because I was the only.
Anytime you saw this, you were in.
Yeah, it was. When you try to steal those last years, and you thinking that you ain't gonna have to play on third down at all.
Right. Right. Listen, I tried to get a couple of years in down in Washington, thinking I was going to play on third down. I wouldn't be a starter. Let Michael Westbrook and Connell start. Man, them cats stayed hurt. I was starting. I went 2 games into the season. I'm starting. I'm like, dang, I'm trying to get me a few years out of here. I'm back here starting again. Now I got to really, really focus. I can't just come in on third down, be the hero, catch first down, and go back to the sidelines.
Yeah, it's an art to. You have to not be enamored with sacks. You have to be just a playmaker. And I don't think the guys right now. I think the guys are so enamored with sacks that that's how you get paid. I was like, but when you're truly trying to get paid, it's like when what's the guy who won Defensive Player of the Year? Was it Garrett?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's crushes the run and the pass.
Run and the pass. Yeah.
And it's one of the things where you have to work at it. It's like it's very few. It's like Julius Peppers. He's one of the guys who I play with. That was a man amongst boys, dude.
He stopped the run and the pass. That's like Reggie White too. When Reggie played, you couldn't do anything with Reggie.
He was. Man, Julius Peppers. He was like 6'6", like 290.
Yeah,
I was like,
just a monster.
We was playing against the Arizona Cardinals, and actually this happened. It happened in 2 games. It happened against everybody. When everybody first started throwing that wide receiver screen, they would try to cut the defensive end. So we played against Sheila Manning, and he.
Did you call him Sheila Manning?
Yeah, that's Sheila.
You got a name for everybody, man.
Yes, but
Sheila. Why do you call him Sheila?
The people made up that name. They call him Sheila Manning.
I'd never heard that before. It's my first time hearing that. Sheila Manning.
You learn something new every day.
Wow.
So there was a closing. We closed when I was playing with the Panthers. We were the Meadowlands. There was the last home game at the Meadowlands. They had brought like Lawrence Taylor and all them up there. Man, they was talking so much trash. The first play of the game, they tried to cut block him and throw that wide receiver screen. Pick 6. He just was like, bam.
Wow. He just couldn't get it over him. He just boom.
Yeah, bro,
he took it to the house. Wow, good Peppers. That's nice.
He did it, and he just did it against Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner was scared of him.
He should be. Peppers was a crazy dude, man. That dude could play. He could play.
He was my boy because we worked out in Houston together. Me, him, Casey Hampton, Sean Rogers, Charles Woodson, Ken Hamlin. All of us used to work out in Houston. The funniest thing though is you remember the playoff game that we played. Me and you played in '96 against Steve Young. Them.
Yeah. That was cold.
Yeah, it was in San Francisco though.
It was. I know, but it was cold, man.
I just saw a picture of that one, and I remember my dad was there, and he said Steve Young was. He told me that Steve Young was scared of me. And I just saw a picture, and it's a picture of me running through that line, and it's a picture of him looking scared.
Here come again.
And I was like, my dad was right. But it was so funny because that was when Jesse Saliapua had just come off heart surgery. I was trying to kill him. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, but listen. Speaking of Steve Young, I kind of set the people up because our agree to disagree statement is kind of a trick agree to disagree statement. Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback in NFL history. Well, I think Big Dog will agree with me on this. You can't really judge him or rate him with quarterbacks who played in earlier eras, particularly the era in which we played in and before us. You know, you talk about the Johnny Unitas's and it was crazy back then.
Yeah, but
because the game was different. The game was different. The game was different in that, you know, even there wasn't a two-step rule when the quarterback let the ball go. The quarterback still getting hit when he threw the ball. He's still getting hit and getting hit hard. And there were no penalties. And not, you know, it didn't matter where he got hit. He'd get hit in the head. He get hit, it didn't matter. He would get hit hard. And when he got sacked, people would fall on him. They'll purposely throw him to the ground or slam him to the ground. It was a totally different game all the way around. Receivers going through the middle. You know, if the ball was thrown awry, it was too high for you, and you reached up and you couldn't get it, and it was obvious that it was over your head, you still get hit, and there was no penalty. And our coaches would teach us in the pros back then, listen, you might as well catch the ball because you're going to get hit anyway. It wasn't a penalty. And you get hit viciously too. It wasn't no little light bump. It was a vicious hit.
Yeah. And
that's how the game was. That's how the game was.
Also was no illegal contact.
They
ended up doing the Mel Blount rule. That was the Mel Blount rule because he used to bump you all the way down the field.
Yeah.
That ended up coming in later on down the road. I was like, but it was no illegal contact.
No, wasn't no pass interference, all that kind of stuff down the field.
The funniest thing too was like the first dude to get 1,000-yard receiving season. Oh, was it in a 12-game season? I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
And it's like a 1,000 yards rushing too. It's like a 12-game or 14-game season.
Right.
It's like, so a lot of the feats that the guys are.
So you cannot. You really, I mean, is Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback in the league right now in this era? For sure. And by far. There's a big gap between him and whoever you want to say is second. I don't care who it is you say is second. There's a big gap between Patrick Mahomes and them. But when you look at the history of the quarterbacks in the league or that have played over the course of the NFL, you know, you got your Terry Bradshaws, you got your Joe Montanas, you got your Kenny Stablers, you got your, Johnny Unitas. I mean, you got a bunch of quarterbacks that played that were great and they played under so much duress. They played under so much stress. They played in the era where the game was so much different. Dan Marino, these guys today, if they got hit, you know, it changes. When you get slammed on your head, when you're standing in the pocket and somebody comes and slams you on your head, and there's no penalty, guess what that's going to do? Your mind's going to change the next time you're in the pocket. The next ball you throw is either going to come out real fast, it's going to be awry, it's going to be it changes. It changes everything.
Basically,
quarterbacks don't even get hit now. They don't even get hit. So you cannot compare today's quarterbacks, today's receivers, today's really any player other than the line. You know, the line they get hit every play.
Yeah, we do.
But for the most part, you can't compare today's game with the game
of yesteryear.
You can't.
The one thing
to say that Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback in NFL history, that's a trick question. I set everybody up. You can't even compare.
Way to go.
You can't even compare.
Now I got John who's asking what percentage is mental versus skill in stopping the run. A lot of it is mental if you already have the skill. And David started struggling at the end because a team's got us on tape and they saw that if you single team that kid, he's gonna be backfield bull loving. It's like once they get that stuff on tape, and then like me and you were talking about earlier, you do nothing. You don't do any movement.
Right.
You don't do anything to put them on notice. All they do, they run. I watch pretty much every team down the stretch run the same 2 to 3 running plays on us the whole time.
On the Eagles, right?
They would double team the guy. They would have a tight end in there. They would double team the guys on the interior. and they're doing rub double tuck because we didn't have the linebackers that when you got a really good linebacker, that's why I love the Axe man. He see that double team, he hitting that gap. He hitting that gap because it takes the double team off you, and once the double team is off you, both of y'all in your gap, and there's no gap for the running back to run.
Right.
But if you have linebackers that are doing what we're doing, you got the guys holding up. Then all of a sudden, some movement happens, and then one guy goes up to the next one. You turn like an open door, and it's like you open the door for the running back, and you're gonna get 4 or 5 yards. And then those 4 or 5 yards turn to 7, 8 yards, and then he's on our secondary and making them look bad.
Right. Well, you got to. And I learned watching not just watching all throughout the years I played, but these last couple of years in particular, and in this game that was just played, Super Bowl 58, just this last week, watching the Chiefs defense, the discipline they have in blitzing in their lane. Some of the blitzes that Spagnuolo dialed up, man, it was amazing.
That's the defense I was in.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch. And you got to have some creativity and some movement on defense, just like you got to have creativity and movement on offense.
You remember we was coaching Robbinsville?
Yeah.
What do you think that I was running?
Kill them all, Spagnuolo's. I love that call.
It's Jim Johnson. It's Jim Johnson. All this stuff is Jim Johnson.
Right.
And the way that you allow me to teach the kids to practice, that's the same way that you have to do it in the NFL. If you can't do your job in the and that's the one thing too. I can't think of the kid's name who he had autism that was playing for us, and you thought he was crazy but he wasn't. All you gotta do is tell him what to do. When you do your job, but you do it fast, it's like you never know when it's going to be your time. That's why every time you run a blitz, you run it at full speed, at full gear. He who hesitates masturbates.
Right, but you also have to be, like you said, be disciplined because
you have to believe.
If I'm blitzing, I got to know where I'm supposed to go because guess what? They may pick me up, but because they pick me up, somebody else is free.
Yeah, but it said right there what you just said. But you got to believe that the person who's running the blitz behind you is going to get there. You don't try to be spectacular.
Right.
It's like because if you say that I see you, I said I'm coming to my gap and you come to block me. You come from this way. Now, I try to go around. Now you block 2 people because it's the other guy because when you block, it triggers the other guy.
Right.
So He wants you. So he wants you to come get me because the guy this way will be free. Yeah,
there's a gap.
And then, but if you go that way to get him, then I'm free. And it's like
you got to stay in your gap. You got to stay disciplined when there's a blitz because you're filling the gaps. One gap, there's going to be a gap that's open, and if you move out of your gap, trying to beat the guy who's coming to block you, you're going to negate the blitzer.
Yes.
You're going to negate the blitzer. So,
listen,
shout out. We were talking about this earlier. Shout out to and condolences to all of those who were affected, lost loved ones to that horrific shooting, the celebration out in Kansas City.
Right,
which, it's just ridiculous what's going on in this world.
The 49th, and it's only the 46th day, the 49th mass shooting event.
And on Super Bowl Sunday, there was a shooting in Joel Osteen's church.
Yeah.
On Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's listen, we got to just be careful. I can't say stay home and be a hermit. Stay home. But
I don't want to go through let's see. I don't want to go through lecturing the people who are not doing it because
you don't want to lecture them.
No, but the people, it's like we often get lectured on things that we're not doing.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute. I haven't killed anybody. I haven't shot anybody.
Just be aware. Try to be aware of your surroundings.
Just try to be aware of your surroundings. I think that's one of the things that a lot of the people, unfortunately, everybody didn't make it out alive. But I think I think everybody, massing up and they're stopping the guys who did it. Right. You have to send shout out to their bravery. So,
Yeah, but that's it's unheard of, man. Yeah. It's unheard of. We never experienced anything like that. People come out to celebrate, and there's thousands of people out, out to have a good time, to celebrate the victory.
Out to celebrate the victory.
Out, and they're just evil. Evil is present in this world. And we need to understand that there's an evil presence in this world doing crazy things and hindering the lives of people. So just, be mindful, do the best you can do to be the best person you can be kind to people, and be aware of your surroundings, and keep on living. You gotta pray.
Let me give you some of this.
Yeah, we got to do. We went an hour, big dog. We talked very little about the game. Okay, we ain't talk about the game.
Our guys wasn't in the game.
I was just going to say we wasn't in the game, so that I don't care. We didn't get to. I had some notes and stuff, but so what? I don't care. We weren't in the game.
I got to get this quality history in for my people, because I put my foot into this one.
Oh, you did put your foot into it?
I put my foot into it.
All right, got some gravy. Good cut of meat makes its own gravy.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So y'all, this is history with Hollis.
This day in history is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. Go to phillysportstrips.com for all of your fan travel needs and your tailgating needs as well. Today is February the 15th. 2024. It's the 46th day of the year. There's only 320 of these suckers remaining.
Only?
Yeah, it's only three. Yeah, only 320
days into this year.
I know. We have some national holidays. Today is Gumdrop Day. It's also Annoy Squidward Day for all of you SpongeBob fans like myself. I'm gonna watch some SpongeBob a little bit later. Today
I'm going to bed. I'm not watching.
Today is Be Happy as a Hippo Day. It's also Clementine Day. It's called I Want Butterscotch Day as well. And it's also
where you get this stuff from, man?
I go and search up odd holidays. It's also Singles Awareness Days, which is also Saint Skeletor's Day. It's a day for the lost souls without love.
Lost souls without love.
Yes. And it's actually Susan B. Anthony Day, because today is her birthday. I have some events here for you. In 1764, in St. Louis, Missouri, was founded as a French trading post by Pierre Leclede. Leclede, because there's a Leclede town. And if you've ever been to St. Louis, there's a place called Leclede town. In 1768, the very first mustard manufactured in America and advertised here in Philadelphia. Okay. In 1799, the very first United States printed ballots were authorized right here in the state of Pennsylvania. We're having trouble with the votes now. I don't know what the problem is.
Of course, they're having trouble with the votes. Somebody, I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to mention no names. Yeah, I'm going to shut up.
In 1903, the very first teddy bear was introduced in America. It was made by Morris and Rose Mitchum.
Wow.
Yes. 1932, as a member of the gold medal winning United States 4-man bobsleigh team in Lake Placid, New York, Eddie Egan, he became the first and only gold medalist to win a gold medal in the summer and the Winter Olympics. He won a gold medal in boxing in 1920.
Wow.
Yes. In 1936, Adolf Hitler. He announces the construction of the People's Car. You know what the People's Car was?
You shouldn't even acknowledge that dude.
The People's Car was the Volkswagen Beetle.
Okay, but you shouldn't have even acknowledged Hitler. He doesn't deserve to be on the list.
1941, Duke Ellington. He first recorded "Taking the A Train."
All right, yeah, Duke Ellington.
Then it's wartime propaganda in World War II. We can do it. It was a poster with a woman with I know you know the poster with the cartoon woman doing like this.
Right, we can do it.
Yes, yeah. It was posted on the. It was made by. We don't want to forget J. Howard Miller, because he's the one who drew the poster. It was posted all across the Midwest factory, the Westinghouse factories and manufacturing companies. 1950, Walt Disney, his animated film of Cinderella premiered in Boston. Cinderella.
Really?
Yeah, Cinderella. In 1955, the pilot plant to produce man-made diamants. It was
Fugazis.
Fugazis. Yes.
Yeah, Fugazi. Yeah. Okay.
Here's the one, 1967. The first anti-bootleg recording laws were put intact. That's for people who are stealing other people's stuff. And then in '72, it was updated for copyright protection.
Right.
And then in 1978, Leon Spinks beat Muhammad Ali in 15 rounds for the heavyweight title.
Muhammad Ali was old, man.
Okay, man, but he lost.
Muhammad Ali was old.
In '78.
Yeah.
Whatever. In 1985,
he was at the end of his career. He had already beaten Frazier and Foreman.
Yeah, and Spinks,
and Spinks.
Now this one I put in here particularly for you. In 1982, the 1982 Masters Championship, Craig Stadler, he was disqualified from the Andy Williams Open for kneeling on a towel to make a shot. Is that unheard of?
No, was it a putt? Was it a putt?
He kneeled on. He used the towel to make. He kneeled on it to make a shot.
He hit the ball while he was kneeling on the towel.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that was illegal.
Yeah, he got disqualified. Now you know. Now the more you know. In 2005, the platform in which we own for those people on YouTube. In 2005, the online video sharing site YouTube. It was launched in the United States by the Stephen Chin, Chad Hurley, and the somebody else. I got some birthdays here for you.
So YouTube is only 19 years old. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine that. So I got some birthdays here for you. We have Charles Lewis Tiffany. Now everybody I used to always think that Tiffany and Company was made by a woman, but it was Charles Lewis Tiffany.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a founder of it. He's a jeweler.
Tiffany, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then today, like I said, 1920, Susan B. Anthony. 1882, John Barrymore. He's the actor who played Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I just preached a sermon entitled Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Remind me to tell you the actual story of that because I learned it when I was in Scotland. Okay. In 1907, it's Cesar Romero, the first Joker. 1927, Harry Corbin, loved him on Carol Burnett, great comedian. 1949, Ken Anderson, quarterback.
Ken Anderson,
who would have won a Super Bowl if it hadn't been for Joe Montana. 1951, actress Jane Seymour. 1954, the creator of The Simpsons and Futurama, Matt Groening. And then 1955, Shooter McGavin, Christopher McDonald. 1960, Darryl Green. 1964, Chris Farley.
Darryl Green, the defensive back?
Yeah, the defensive back. Yeah.
Okay.
1960. 1969, the Birdman, Brian Williams from Cash Money Millionaires. 1973, Alex Borstein. 1995, Megan Thee Stallion. 1953, Lynn Whitfield. 1959, Buddy Brian Propp's birthday. And 1973, we got Alex Borstein. And 1998, the Diary of a Whippy Kid, Zachary Gordon. And that's been this day issue of How to Summon, brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. Go to phillysportstrips.com for all your Philly sports needs and wants for tailgating and trips.
If y'all are not educated by now, if you don't know your history by now, after that series of information,
I left out the one about the guy who got the Confederate president who got discharged for the charges were dropped against him for treason after the war.
Really?
Yeah.
On this day,
yeah. In 18. Hold on a second. I left out that one. It was 18.
In the 1800s.
It was 1800s. It was 1800s. Yeah, it was 1869. 1869. Yeah, 1869. Wow. The charges were dropped him because he was trying to he got arrested for treason. He actually fled after the Confederate lost the war because his idea, when everybody keeps saying that the war wasn't over slavery, one of his things was to keep slavery intact and expand on it, make it better. For who? Wow. For who? For what?
Yeah, for who? Yeah, who's it better for? He's lucky the charges got dropped because back then treason, you got shot, hung.
Well, yeah, but it's treason. That's why the when they did it turned out to be a treaty, but the Confederate were really supposed to surrender. That's why they continued to have the misnomer that they won the war.
Right. Yeah.
And so because they allowed him to, allowed him and other people who were fighting against the union to not to be charged with treason. There was another guy who was charged with treason, but they couldn't prove it. So I have to look him up. I'll tell you about him next time. He was trying to kill Thomas Jefferson and take over. He was down in Texas and got some wealthy people to help him out with the army, and he was getting his army ready, and he had the help of the general of the American army, but he was sending letters in code, and
Lord.
somebody got a hold of one of the letters that had been decoded, and the general was like, "Oh yeah, I was about to bring that to you, President." And so he double crossed him. Right. He double crossed the dude who was about to do it. I got to find. I truly had to find it because it was a funny story. Because I was watching the documentary. I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Oh." He's like, "Oh, Thomas, I was just about to bring you that letter." Man.
There's always, from the beginning of time, there's always been shenanigans.
Yes, and there was a bunch of them back then that that a lot of us don't know about. That I find hilarious.
Yeah, always been shenanigans.
Yes,
some of them cost people their lives, but there's always been shenanigans.
But the funniest thing about that shenanigan, the Supreme Court, they took him. They had evidence to prove that he did it, but they didn't prove it in court, so he got let off.
He must have had a bunch of money.
Not really. They just didn't prove it. They just wanted the Supreme Court to be like, since the president said he did, and this is where they tried to separate the Supreme Court from politics.
Right.
They just wanted just wanted them to say that since the president said he did it, then he did it, and he's got to be executed. But he's like, you didn't prove it. So.
Don't prove it.
Yes.
That's history of Hollis, y'all. And guess what?
Yes.
It's time for us to get up out of here.
Yes, it is. Don't forget your homework for next week.
Don't forget your homework.
Your homework next week is I need your free agent wish list, and anybody who you see that's in the top 100 players that you would like that's on your wish list for the Birds.
Free agent wish list.
Yeah, free agent wish list, and the top 100 that are coming out in the draft that are on your wish list for the Birds.
That's a lot. 100.
I said who's on your list though? You
said out of the top 100.
Yeah, pick a few guys that you
100. Like we needed to pick 100.
No, you have to pick people out of the top 100.
Yes,
it's like because we have the
who you like to see come to the Birds.
Yes, who would you like to see come? Junior. I want to see Junior here.
Junior. That would be it would be a great story.
Yeah.
I don't. Could you imagine him going to Dallas Cowboys? What Trot would do at home? How Trot would be upset. Trot would be upset if he went to the Cowboys.
Trot is from Texas too.
Yeah, but he's not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah, he'd have a fit. But anyway, I mean, whatever. Long as he gets in the league, but it would be great. It would be it would be a great story. Maybe a little pressure on him to come here, to fill his father's shoes.
I don't think so.
Well. Only if
he's already dropping the axe.
Only if things didn't go well, it would be pressure. If he plays, he'll be fine. It'll be great. Yeah. But if something happens,
I think he's whatever reason,
something doesn't go right or doesn't go, because you never know, man. You never know.
I understand that.
Then there would be, there would be a little pressure on it. But anyway, listen, don't forget, everybody, we're here at Vetted on A2D Radio every Thursday at 8 p.m. from now on. Make sure you check us out. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, and we'll be talking about the free agency and who we think and who you think the Eagles ought to try to go after with some urgency.
Yeah, who's on your wish list?
Yeah, who's on your wish list? Let's see if it becomes reality.
Yes.
See you next week. Go Birds.
Go Birds.